Awesome. Welcome to Scatterbrained, a weekly subpod of mind controllers. Yet, I think we have more episodes of Scatterbrained now than we do of the main pod. But anyways, I'm your host, Brandon Craw. And we are joined today by the full group. So I got my co-host, Joe Moreno, and another co-host, Brandon Courture, right?
Hello. Courture, yeah, sure.
How do you say it?
The American pronunciation, the French pronunciations are slightly different. Couture works. That's how I pronounce it. But
Okay.
I think in French it's couture. Something like that. But
Okay.
that's,
Damn.
Yeah.
I failed as I just came back from France not too long ago. But anyways, everyone sit back, relax. We're going to tell you all about the video games and other media we've been enjoying this week. So, what's going on, everyone? It's been about a month since I think the three of us got together. Four of us. I have like a little secret person hiding behind me. But anything new? Anything exciting? Joe, I know, you've been out. You've been enjoying... Well, you've been making the most out of your situation and enjoying some video games. So I know we're going to get to that in a second. One random fact that I heard someone say on a podcast that kind of threw me off was that the time between releases of the first Doom game and Halo 2 and Half-Life 2, because those games came out in the same week, is now shorter than the time between, what was it, The Last of Us and now? Like the first Last of Us game and now. And I was like, oh God, that made me feel so old. Holy shit.
I remember borrowing my friend's PlayStation specifically just to play that game. He's like, this game is so good. I'm going to give you my entire PlayStation and go to town. I was like, okay, yeah, sure. And
wow.
Fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Iconic.
That's a true friend to lend you a whole ass console. God damn. Yeah. I would be so skeptical.
I beat it in like a week, but
sure.
It wasn't too long without it, but still very, very, what a homie.
Yeah.
No.
I hope they're doing well right now. Yeah, I remember playing that game too for the first time. I didn't buy it when it first came out. I think I got into it like a year afterwards because I bought a PS3 a year later, but it was absolutely iconic for its time. I know now feels like a lot of people will look back at it and just call it trauma porn, but I don't know. It really pulled at like some of the emotional heartstrings and did a great job at setting up a lot of character development there. And I don't know. I really appreciated it. Really had a great time with the game.
Yeah, and the TV show was pretty good too.
Yeah. Really like the TV show. I'm sure we're going to talk more about video game TV shows later with Arcane. But Joe, did you play Last of Us?
No, if there was a Pokemon game that came out that year, probably not.
You mean every
for the whole year?
Yeah, the whole year. Gotta catch them all, right? Takes a whole year.
Yeah, absolutely. Damn. Are you wearing a Pokemon shirt right now too? I'm sorry for audio only listeners, but
yeah, it's like Pikachu.
Oh, hell yeah. It looked like Umbreon for a second, but anyways. You know about The Last of Us at this point, right?
Yeah, I watched the show as well, so yeah. Video essays, all that. So we're
for sure. Honestly, that show was like such a perfect one-to-one adaptation. Well, I mean, it wasn't exactly one-to-one, but it was a very good adaptation of the video game. So if you watch the show, you pretty much played the game, or at least got the story gist. So that's pretty interesting. All right, guys. Shall we talk about the video games? What we've been playing?
Yeah, I think we should.
Awesome. Well,
that's why we're here.
Yeah. Joe, it's been a while. I'd say you go first. I know what you've been playing, but you want to tell us? Brandon doesn't know, and the rest of the audience doesn't know. So what?
Yeah, so some context, right? I finally got my gallbladder removed, so thank goodness. So I've been out for like 2 weeks. It's been kind of painful, but not as bad as like when I got my molar removed. So that's nice. That wisdom tooth. I think that was worse. Oh. But what I was playing was I finished up Metaphor Refantazio. I did 2 playthroughs of Silent Hill 2 Remake, and I'm currently on Romancing Saga 2, which is a Square Enix RPG. And I'm like maybe 7 hours in, but I'm really enjoying it. JRPGs are comfort food for me. They're just like, you just chill, grind, right? Gather some levels, go through the story. Because when I was playing Silent Hill 2, I was still having that pain from the gallbladder, like removal. And so when things would get tense, I would get like tension in my shoulder and it would hurt, right? It was that bad. No. Because this game had me on edge. When I was texting you about it, I was like, damn, this shit is like, it was like very intense.
Oh man, yeah. You told me about that, and I've been like dying to play that game too. Like I never played the original, and I know you played it originally, like the original, relatively recently. I forgot, Brandon. Did you play Silent Hill 2?
I did play, back. It was like PlayStation 2, I
think
think.
so. Yeah.
Yeah. But
Oh, okay.
granted, I was a little kid at the time, so I got fucking terrified.
Yeah.
And I don't think I ever beat it in my original playthrough. I did eventually emulate the game, and played it later. But yeah, like when you're a little kid, that game is too scary.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I know. That's
Even
what I've heard.
nowadays. It can be there's some moments where
Yeah.
Yeah.
You experience that too, then it sounds like Joe.
Is the remake pretty good with the horror aspect of things?
So the way that so what they've changed from the original is they made the dungeons, the areas a little bit bigger, more puzzles, and moved around like enemy placements. So like even if you played the original, you're still gonna be like surprised because there are certain enemies that can hide under tables, to the side of the wall. Now they crawl on the wall, which is new. That shit's terrifying to see. Yeah, it's fun. It was fun though, and I'm not a big horror game guy, but I had to. Silent Hill 2. You know,
it's interesting that they've been remaking so many horror games recently because like all of the Resident Evils have been getting remade one after another. Resident Evil 4, I think, was the most recent one. I don't know if they're going to do 5 and give it the same treatment because 5's a very different game. And then now with Silent Hill, it's weird that they don't just make new games, but I guess it's easier to remake a game because you know it's good, so you just put it in Unreal Engine 5 and then you're chilling. I don't think it's actually in UE5, but as a reference. It's interesting the way that the market is. It's the same idea as like the sequels in movies and remakes of movies. They keep remaking like old Disney classics into live action, and it's like, why? They're remaking How to Train Your Dragon in live action.
I saw that.
For what, man? Like the original is fine. Like and from what I've heard, I don't really watch previews, but from what I've heard, it looks like a 1-to-1 remake of the story, shot for shot. So
it's like, what's the point?
Yeah. For what? For what?
Yeah, and then it feels like with a lot of the remakes, at least with film, the live action, it kind of tones down the color palette rather. Like, it's a lot less vivid. It's super dull, and like I saw some screen caps of the How to Train Your Dragon live action, and it just looked kind of grimy, gray and brown. And I remember, it was DreamWorks, right? That originally did it.
Color.
Yeah, it was very vivid, and bright, and it's just, I don't know. We're clearly not the audience for them. It must be making them money to some extent since they keep on doing this. Disney too, and oh well. But Silent Hill 2 remake. It is a good remake. That one actually, it sounds like added to the experience.
Yeah,
maybe?
So it's not the original game. Like the same areas, themes are the same, but there's, I would say, like 10 hours more of gameplay. It doesn't feel like the original. It really doesn't.
Is there still secret endings in
There's
that
like
one?
8 endings.
Yeah. 8 endings? Yeah. Spoilers for the original Silent Hill 2. I can't speak on the remake. But the true ending of the game is that a dog is controlling everything that you're experiencing, and you go into the room and meet the dog with his headset on and cry. That is not at all satire. That is how the game ends on the true ending.
Oh my god! Yeah, Joe was kind of describing that to me about the different endings that he's gotten in the original with the dog one, and I'm just like, that is so wild just to have this like crazy tonal shift. It's really fun.
Yeah.
Is it really hard to get the true dog ending? Like, you have to do some crazy.
You can only do it on New Game Plus.
Okay.
Yeah, so you have to finish the game,
and it's pretty specific. Yeah. You have to do a certain, at least in the original, you have to do like a couple very specific actions that you wouldn't otherwise normally do. It's like a hidden ending. Yeah.
Okay.
The UFO ending worked that way. So what you do is you pick up a blue crystal on the opening town of Silent Hill. You have to stop at 4 locations, open up your menu, pull out the crystal, and it'll light up. It'll make a little UFO sound. And you got to do this 4 times in 4 different locations. And then at the end of the game, you get abducted by aliens. That's fun.
Do you see them? Do they say something to you? Like,
yeah. So in the original, again, spoilers, right? The original protagonist of Silent Hill 1 would be with the aliens, and they would abduct James, who is the protagonist of Silent Hill 2. So in Silent Hill 2 Remake, instead of instead of the protagonist from Silent Hill 1, it's actually James from the PlayStation 2 game that is helping the aliens abduct you, which is pretty funny. I was like, okay.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
Dang. Oh, man.
Yeah, the original game came out in 2001, so I don't feel bad about spoiling that.
No, yeah, That's we got 23 years of buffer time from that one, so you're
if you haven't played it and you wanted to, sorry.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Yeah, I need to get to that game eventually. Maybe once I don't know. Once there's a sale, I'll probably hop on it then. And then once I'm done with like Metaphor, which feels like I'm 20 to 30 hours away from that. But I guess that'll bring me to another game that you just talked about, Brandon. Or sorry, not Brandon. Joe, is Metaphor. Mm-hmm. How did you feel after finishing it?
This is probably my favorite game of all time now. I think why is because what they did with this game is they took SMT, Persona, everything they've worked on, and just made an amalgamation of it, but like the good parts of it. Because the social links, they don't feel grindy. You can't mess them up, right? And then the upgrades you get from them are very great. The battle system is amazing. Like the press turn system, where essentially like, you do a crit or a weakness, you get an extra turn out of it. And you unlock an archetype later on that can give you like 4 extra turns. So you can just like mess things up. It's fun. I really, really enjoy this game. My favorite game at this point. I want to do a new game plus. Just don't have enough time. Yeah, because I got to get back to work soon.
You don't have enough time to play another 100 hours of this game?
No.
Wow.
Unless I start right now, like nonstop.
Yeah. Don't do it. I feel like everything you just said kind of echoes my experience with the game as well. It's stunning. I don't know. I'm constantly thinking about it. One thing that I would want to add to that is the story and like the characters and the way that they're written. It feels like every story, every character is just so compelling. Even the plot line is just doing something that I haven't really seen done before, at least to this extent, where super high level, spoilery-ish, like you find this out within the first 10 hours or so of the game, but where you pretty much join the antagonist to try and get close to him, and then throughout the whole game you are just like trying to do things to please him while also creating this like covert operation to murder him, but there's some magic thing that's protecting him from being murdered, and it's so clever. I don't know, I really enjoyed it, and it feels very thrilling. I feel like every cutscene actually has me engaged and like wanting to know more. I'm not just like falling asleep or like snoozing throughout the cutscenes. The voice acting too is so goddamn good. Like I feel the emotion behind every character, and like it just really fits. Heisme, my boy Heisme, that little Yuji, he looks like a little, how would you describe him? Like a little desert mouse humanoid creature. He's got these big cute eyes, but he has the deepest, like raspiest voice out of anyone there, and he's so compelling. And his story is so sad too. I've definitely already teared up a few times. No tears have been shed, but I've gotten watery during some of those like character bond cutscenes. All of this is just on top of the fantastic gameplay, where everything feels so snappy, so stylized, and it feels like every week we are praising this game, and I think it deserves it all. It's probably going to be like my game of the year. Definitely one of my favorite video games of all time right now. Cool. Well, I'm glad you had a good experience with it.
Yeah, that's what I was playing when I was recovering the first couple of days. So, I mean, I had the time to do it. I was in pain, so sometimes I had to put the controller down just to like take a painkiller and just chill out. Yeah. But I still went ham on the game. Like I was just like, all right, this is time. I think.
I mean, if you're just recovering your body, just game away.
Yeah,
helps out.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend Silent Hill 2 though, because that gave me like shoulder tension pain. So
stress.
Yeah, that was. I was like, I've never felt this from a game. So maybe not. Don't play that if you're recovering, unless you have like a high tolerance for that stuff.
Yeah, that's true. I feel like I've told you before how like it's pretty hard to make me feel scared in media. So I really want to play this game and see like if it lives up to the horror hype. But it sounds like it does. I'm curious about Romancing Saga 2 though. Like, all I know is that it's another Square Enix JRPG. But I don't know anything about it other than that. Yeah, I guess just fill us in.
Just a quick spiel about it, right? So it's a remake because I think the original was on SNES, Super NES. So you're in a kingdom of Avalon, right? And so the way that you start the game is you're the king, which of course the king's not going to last long, and that is a spoiler, I guess. But he like dies within the first 2 hours, and the idea is that there's a certain type of magic in the world called inheritance magic, and so each time someone like a king dies or someone like in your party, I think you can pass on the experience and all they've learned to this next character. So the character I'm playing right now is one of the king's sons, right? So he has like the battle experience of the king, right? And so your goal is to take down seven heroes that were forgotten. Now they're like evil monsters because they have been forgotten. And so you have to reclaim territories. I think there's like 16 territories and fight bosses. What's interesting about this game is there's a life point system. I haven't seen this in an RPG where let's say like the king you're playing as has like 15 life points, right? So if you lose all those life points, and the way that you lose that is an enemy knocks you out, you lose one, right? 14, 13, and it goes down to 0, and then you lose the character permanently. I've never seen that in an RPG. Also, there's not any traditional leveling up system. You're only leveling up your HP, MP, and then like your weapons. So this is like a Final Fantasy II. Have you ever played that? There's no real levels. What you're leveling up is your magic, how much you're using it, right? Did you get hit in the battle? Your HP might go up, that kind of stuff. So it's interesting. It's a little bit different, I would say, than a regular RPG.
Okay, yeah. It sounds like the mechanics are kind of like this differentiating
like it's
selling
still
point to
turn-based,
this
right?
game right now.
But they add these little things that I'm sure these were in the original. But the life point system that like stake there are actual stakes, because if you lose like your tank, like who are you going to replace them with? Do you have a tank in the in your backup? Maybe not.
Mm-hmm. And is there any way to get new players, party members then?
So every time you free some territories, do some side quests, certain side quests, of course, you'll get more characters. So right now I'm working on getting like a thief. I don't know if I'm going to use that thief because I like the party I have right now. But if like party members are gone from one year to the next, because I think it's like a story thing, like you have to inherit, like pass the kinghood or whatever. They have to inherit.
They die from old age.
Yeah, or something like that, right? I'm not that far in, so that might actually happen.
JRPGs take so long that your character
just dies
from old age.
Ooh.
So we'll see.
Yeah. Okay, that's pretty cool. That's an interesting concept. I mean, I know there's some like more modern RPGs that have, implemented something like this where you permanently lose a character that dies.
I played XCOM.
Oh yeah,
Fire Emblem.
XCOM. I was thinking like
Fire Emblem.
XCOM, Fire Emblem. What was it called? Darkest Dungeon, I think, was another non-JRPG where that's a big.
It's weird. Darkest Dungeon's almost a JRPG because it's like turn-based stuff. But it's so different than a JRPG that it's hard to like say that it's just a turn-based game.
That's about like where the overlap is between the JRPG and like a Western RPG. But are there any like overworld mechanics to it, or is it mostly just you go in the overworld just to do story
like
and then?
So like this point's open, go here. There's a side quest here, go there. It was this is like a remake of a SNES game, so I'm like, I'm fine with no open world. Plus, I'm playing this on Switch, so it was not going to run well anyways with an open world.
Damn. A remake of a SNES game doesn't run well on the Switch. Who'd have thought? Dang. Well, that's cool. Would you recommend it then to maybe not to everyone, but even to fans of JRPGs?
Oh yeah.
Would you recommend people play it over, probably not over Metaphor, but maybe over, I don't know, something else?
Well, I decided to pick this up over Dragon Quest 3 because that just came out. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I can't tell you why I picked this up instead of Dragon Quest 3. I was like, it's Square Enix. I've played Dragon Quest before. Like I played 11, I played 7. I was like, I've never played a Romancing Saga game, and I know there's a lot of them. So I was like, you know what? Let me just. It was a little bit cheaper. It was like $50 instead of the OG 60 for like games, right? Or 70 now. Yeah. I mean, I'm happy with the purchase. Like, I would recommend it if you're an RPG fan. Give it a shot. I've been having a good time.
Nice. Okay. Well, that's good to know. Yeah. Like I said, I had never heard of this game before you talked about it right now in text. I mean, I remember seeing it in probably like some sort of Nintendo Direct / partner showcase. Yeah. So after that, I haven't heard anyone talk about it. So thank you for giving us the rundown there. Brandon, what you been up to? What you been playing?
Have you heard that the critically acclaimed MMORPG Final Fantasy XIV has an expanded free trial, which you can play through the entirety of A Realm Reborn and the award-winning Heavensward expansion, and also the award-winning Stormblood expansion up to level 70 for free with no restrictions on playtime.
You executed that beautifully.
Yeah.
No, I have not.
It's been on my other monitor. So I have a buddy that's been playing Final Fantasy XIV for years. Basically since Realm Reborn came out.
Okay.
For those unaware of Final Fantasy, when it launched Final Fantasy XIV, it was a completely different game. And it was so bad, they literally killed every single player character and rebooted the game with A Realm Reborn, hence the title of the name. And so, yeah, I mean, there's a pretty good free trial. I've been playing it. It's okay. It's an MMO.
Yeah.
If you like MMOs, it's gonna be fun. The free trial is really nice. Being able to get your characters up to level 70, max level's 100. I probably won't buy the premium because in order to play most MMOs these days, you have to buy a subscription. You got to pay like $20 a month, which is a lot of money, especially for me. I don't have like a huge amount of time these days to game, but I've been playing a little bit here and there of that. Got through the Realm Reborn base game.
Damn.
Yeah.
Okay. How many hours?
Not 25 maybe.
Okay.
It's not. Yeah, it's not that much. It ends up being relatively quick if you're just focusing on the main story and like avoiding side quests. My buddy basically told me that side quests are pretty pointless, except for like there's like a marker on the ones that are important. Just do those and ignore all the rest. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of really cool classes. Unfortunately, a lot of the like super interesting classes are restricted to higher levels. You can't just start as them. The class system is interesting. I despise the crafting system because for each type of crafting, you have to do a different job.
Yeah.
And each job levels and gets XP independently of one another. So if you want to use leatherworking, you need to get your gathering skill higher so that you can get the reagent to then craft the correct leather to make the correct thing. It's kind
so
of a nightmare.
convoluted.
Yeah, it's very convoluted, and it's not like particularly interesting. The dungeons themselves can be a lot of fun. I've laughed out loud in a couple of the dungeons. Final Fantasy kind of known for its humor mixed with its plot. The plot is actually pretty okay. There's some really hype moments.
Yeah, that's what I remember. I mean, it's funny. I've been thinking about resubscribing because I used to play a lot of Final Fantasy XIV.
And since you subscribed, you can't even do the free trial anymore.
That's the thing that is putting me off. Yeah, because I only got through A Realm Reborn. I forgot what the next immediate
Heavensward and then Stormblood.
Okay,
and then there's like two more after that. Now they just came out with a new one.
It was Shadowbringer, and then I forgot what the latest one is. But,
I don't know.
I did get through Heavensward. I was in Stormblood when I stopped playing, and because I paid for it, and I paid for Shadowbringer as well, I can't like do the free trials. So I'm like, damn, do I just create a whole new account? But then I lose my level 70 character, and I'm like,
that's the problem. I'm like trying to as much as I can try and get a good feel for if I would enjoy the game enough to pay $20 a month. But $20 a month, like I could buy. There's so many games out there for $20 that I would have forever.
Yeah,
exactly. You know, and
from what I've heard, it's not worth it. And I would say that myself too, since I bought the game.
These days, it's so hard to justify that price. And I know, like World of Warcraft, for instance, if you put in a lot of playtime, you can buy your premium from in-game playtime. Which is really interesting. My understanding is it's like very difficult to make viable unless you're putting like 30 hours plus a week into the game.
Wow.
Yeah, and at that point, why not just get a part-time job doing something and pay for it?
Yeah, but it is doable. With Final Fantasy, there's just no way. But if you're interested in MMOs and like you think that it might be fun, it is a pretty generous free trial. Level 70 takes a while. There's a lot of content that you can do. Some of the hard mode dungeons have been a lot of fun. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with it. I think because it offers the free trial period and it's so generous with like the amount of content that it offers within that free trial period, it is worth at least trying out for a bit to figure out if you're liking it or not. I know some big like RPG heads and who don't even really like MMOs will say that this is one of their favorite stories of like a Final Fantasy game, and it's worth playing just for that. So. I don't know. Joe, have you tried it at all?
No, I'm afraid that I'm going to get into it. That's why I haven't tried it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
I think this is totally a you game.
There is a free trial. My shitty Mac.
Free trial. Level 70. Realm Reborn.
Oh no, it's on PS. It's on PlayStation.
No, that's my excuse. I'm going to play it on PC. That way I don't play it until I have a PC.
And it does fully support controller on PC. My buddy, the one that has been playing since forever, only plays on controller. I play on PC with mouse and keyboard. It's optimized to be able to play with a controller, which is kind of cool.
It's coming to mobile.
Really have that.
There was an announcement.
It's coming to mobile?
So I was so excited for that announcement. It came out last week, but then I read into it and it's just like a little, it's like the Realm Reborn story, but shortened up. And it's not even connected to the main game.
Okay, so
and I'm like, God damn it. Yeah. I was so hyped when I saw Final Fantasy 14 mobile. Oh, hell yeah, let's go. But yeah, unfortunately, it's supposedly some separate thing.
Based on Final Fantasy. Yeah, so the mobile game is not.
I know.
Yeah, because I mean, if you could play, I mean, I don't know how you would. You get so many skills and abilities. Like you'd be like using like a pinpoint stylus to click all your buttons.
I was so addicted to MMOs in general. I have an MMO.
Oh, you got the gaming mouse.
Yes.
That would be nice. For Final Fantasy 14.
It comes in clutch. But I did play Final Fantasy 14 with controller as well on the PlayStation. And honestly, that they did something right with that controller layout because it works very well and
that's what I've heard.
Pretty easy to use. Yeah, I'm surprised Warcraft hasn't done something like that. I'm sure there's some unofficial mod for WoW at this point that could.
There's so many plugins for WoW. I'd be surprised
that if they didn't have. I know, same here. That's another game where I'm like, I
had a buddy buy me a subscription for 1 month of WoW just to see if I liked it. And it's just not that fun. I don't know why people like World of Warcraft so much. And I get that like I didn't really get the full experience. A lot of it is, like the higher level content and the dungeons and the leveling. But it wasn't interesting to me, and Final Fantasy at least was a bit more interesting, or still is. I'm playing it.
Were you playing FF14 with your friend?
Yes,
as well.
Which helps. Which helps. But I was playing World of Warcraft with a different friend.
Oh, okay.
But one thing I will say is like a lot of the like beginning quests really suck because you are running from one place to another. You don't get a mount until like level 20.
20 something,
And then you can't fly until you beat all of Realm Reborn, the main story. And then you can only fly in the original zones. And once you get to a new zone, you can't fly anymore. And like getting from one place to another is just so aggravating.
It's a chore. It is a chore. I feel
that's always been one of my biggest problems with MMOs. MMOs, like they just give you busy work. And it's like, oh, here, go and do this thing. Go and mine 20 of this thing in order to progress the quest. Great, thanks, man.
Yeah.
I love mining 20 of that thing.
I love killing kobolds and taking their scarves because you need them for what again? Yeah.
My favorite. Oh, it's super important that you kill these guys and steal their armor because plot reasons. All right,
I went into the goblin's home and they attacked me. Like, you gotta go fuck them up for me.
But then I go into the Goblin dungeon and kill Goblin King, who's got this crazy mechanic, and I'm like, oh, it's kind of fun. I'm enjoying this.
The dungeons is where it's at for sure.
Yeah, with most of that kind of content.
I totally agree. It feels like for most MMOs, the leveling up experience is always such a slog, and it's really the end game.
It's literally a chore. It's busy work.
Yeah. But like, you said you didn't see why people like World of Warcraft so much. I played it. No. I had like thousands of hours in that game when I was younger. That was like the main game I was playing. I
That
played
was
that
the
game when
MMO
it first came
back
out.
in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I had some core gaming experiences with that game, like
Mm-hmm.
doing Molten Core, which was the first like big 40-man dungeon, and it was kind of a
That's too
chore.
many. That's too many people.
Yeah, it was. It was too many. Like trying to coordinate that on a Tuesday and Wednesday night to like get through this whole ass dungeon and like to
40
have
of your
40
closest
people.
friends in the call.
Yeah, that's the thing. You just end up joining like a random
Yeah,
guild.
like a pickup group. Yeah.
Yeah. Like back then there wasn't any sort of like group finder or anything.
Oh,
so you
right.
just had to like
you had to do guilds.
ask around in chats and join someone's guild, and then but it was a core memory of just like downing one of the final bosses, Ragnarok, in there, and oh man, it was such a good time. But
when you and your buddy Arthas are going down town to yeah.
I know. I have like sometime within the past 10, it might have been like 5+ years ago at this point, where I resubscribed and bought the latest expansion and tried it out for a month. And yeah, the dungeons were fun. I just did some of the end game dungeons, and I think having like a lot of the group finder stuff really helped, like just to jump right in and get into the action. You don't really need to know the mechanics like super hardcore like you needed to back then. Yeah, it's certainly, maybe because I'm older now, don't have as much time. It certainly lost its charm. But I don't know.
Also, it shows its age.
Yeah. That's the other thing. It came out in what,
game.
like 2006 or something? I forgot.
Maybe even earlier than that.
Yeah. Damn. It certainly is getting up there.
2004.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Jesus
2004.
Christ.
Yeah.
20-year-old MMO, and it's still the supreme. Like main one. That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's there's really 3 big MMOs. Well, 4 actually big MMOs right now.
Got
World of Warcraft,
FF14,
FF14, Guild Wars,
Guild Wars 2,
Lost Ark. I think are the main 4.
I feel like Black Desert Online is another one that is not too big in America, but is I think pretty big overseas and brings in a lot of money.
It's an actual free MMO.
Yeah,
I believe
freemium.
Freemium MMO. And a lot of those like free MMOs are very big in, say, China and Russia.
Yeah. And also riddled with microtransactions, but
yeah. Hey, you wanna be good in BDO? Better have a big wallet.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. So, Joe, you're going to download Final Fantasy 14. I'm going to create a new account, and then we're just going to do a Mind Controllers Guild group playthrough.
Yeah, we'll see how hang out at the end here, just gearing up, and once you guys are done, we'll do the other 2 expansions.
I know. Nice. I think that game has a pretty good, like, not leveling system, but like it'll accommodate for the level differences.
Yes. So, first point that I want to bring up, leveling isn't hard on one class. Like if you pick one class and stick to it, and you just do the main story, you will be at or above level the whole time. Which it's actually kind of recommended that you level 2 classes after the Realm Reborn, the base game. You level 2 classes at the same time because you get so much XP from the base or from the main story quests that you can actually level 2 classes at the same time.
Okay.
And then if you're like, let's say you're level 100 and you're doing content that's for a level 15 character, it'll level scale you all the way down to level 15. And so you won't have all of your cool buttons. But you'll be able to play with people and not just one shot all the bosses.
That's really fun. I kind of like that. Yeah. I forgot about the level, not the level scaling, but the level up system. How I think it becomes easier too, isn't it? If you're like level like 70 in one class, it speeds up the XP gain in the other classes.
There's ways that you can, so like once you unlock like a bunch of dungeons, you can do daily dungeons. It's like a daily roulette system where you get just a shit ton of XP for running a single dungeon on a character. So you can like every day like run one dungeon with a character. And if you just do that, 10, 15 minutes of a dungeon, you'll be able to level that character pretty consistently. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Got it.
There's a lot of like, if you want to grind, you can, don't get me wrong, but there's a lot of like daily XP boosts that you can get that make it so that it's not that bad, not much of a chore to like level other classes. And some classes like, there's a lot of classes that you get at the very end of Realm Reborn, Samurai, Red Mage, a couple other ones that just start at level 50. So you
There's like
don't
a gun
need to
one.
you don't need to grind them. Yeah. There's a couple of them.
Yeah.
Just start at level 50. There's I think a couple classes that start at level 70. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's also just a bunch of classes too. Which are you leveling right now?
So there's one job in the game where you can level 2 roles at the same time. So if you play Arcanist, you can level Summoner and the healer version of
White
Summoner.
Mage?
It's not White Mage. It actually might be called Arcanist. You're playing as anyway. You're leveling a Summoner and a healer at the same time. So you're leveling a DPS and a healer. So dungeon queue times go down when you're playing healer because nobody wants to play healer. So whenever I'm like solo queuing for a dungeon, I'll swap to healer. Then when I'm playing with my buddies, we'll like pick in the call and be like, oh yeah, I'll play healer this time. I'll play DPS this time, whatever it is. But if you queue with a tank and a healer, you get an instant queue pop. Yeah. It's literally instant.
Yeah. Oh, it's nice. I know. I think I was doing that too because I didn't want to wait in the queues. I leveled up a White Mage as the main one, and then I started leveling up. Yeah. There's some other tank class. I don't remember the name of it.
I will say going through the main story as a healer, it's like a pure healer. Yeah. Very, very difficult. You just don't do enough damage.
No, not at all.
Yeah. At least with tanks, you can turn off your tank stance and kill some mobs.
Do some more. Yeah, that's true. I know. I was like, oh, this is bad. I think they sometime within the past year updated the Realm Reborn, streamlined it even more. And I think I played before that.
They've been going back and updating some of the like fights, some of the quests. My buddy was telling me like there was this one fight. It was formerly an 8-man raid that took about 10 seconds. You would load in and immediately chump the guy, even at level. And now it's a 1v1 against you and him in the story as part of the main story quest.
That's kind of dope.
It's a really fun fight. And he's my favorite character design so far. He's got these 2 big shields.
Yeah.
And I just think that's rad.
Dude, you keep on playing these games that I were addicted to.
Yeah. I sorry. No, I don't mean to throw shade. I have played JRPGs in the past.
How dare you?
How
dare you disparage Game of the Year nominated Metaphor Refantazio?
That's right.
Balatro.
Look, I'm not one to talk on that. I just don't have the patience for
deserves it. Balatro deserves it.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah. Well, Balatro is one of those games that, like, it's going to be up there in terms of roguelikes, up with, like, FTL and Slay the Spire.
Absolutely.
Right? Like, it's going to be one of those games that people keep going back to time and time again.
It has revolutionized. It was a revolutionary for its time. And
yes.
We're living through that time right now. So people are still loving it, still playing through it.
Yeah, I'll go back to FTL every now and then. There's actually a modding scene for FTL too.
That's always fun.
Yeah, same thing with Slay the Spire. Yeah, both games are fantastic.
Yeah.
And now Balatro is up in the accolades of some of the best roguelites of all time.
Mm-hmm. Have either of you played Balatro?
No.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's not an RPG, man.
That's fair. That's fair.
It feels like a time killer. I don't need to kill time.
It's on your phone now.
It is on.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. I mean, like you were at home. Like it seems like it fits the mobile, like just fit in some quick rounds or whatever.
Is it on mobile?
Yeah.
It's gotta be, right? Yeah.
It's $10, I think. It's on iOS and Android.
Yeah.
And I think it's even on that pass thing for iOS where if you pay, I forgot what it is because I have
Apple
an Android.
Arcade.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Apple Arcade. Thank you. Yes, yeah, it's on Apple Arcade right now. I wanted to talk about this on the news, but it's so funny seeing people furious over Balatro being nominated. It's just like for Game of the Year.
Well, here's the thing: the Game Awards are a sham, and it's kind of wild that going on there's like a category for like games that have been supported for a long time and are continuously updated. Yeah. And Destiny was put on that list, despite all of the problems that Destiny has been facing over the past year. And Warframe, which is a game that most people who play it will only sing its praises.
Sure.
Is not even nominated. And if you look at how they do the voting for the Game Awards, only 10% of the weight is the vast majority of people who are voting. And then you have 90% going towards the critics. which means that the only time that the actual vote matters is if the critics are super divided. Otherwise, it's just going to go to whatever the critics think. And like, who are these critics? Like, why would you not listen to the mass of people who actually play these games as opposed to some weird industry head? The Game Awards, it's a sham. It's a sham.
Yeah. I mean, it feels like it is mostly catered towards the journalists and to like make these headlines and like
gaming
social media headlines.
Is a joke these days.
Yeah.
It's been a joke for a while, but if let me think. IGN gave Space Marine to
it was like something pretty low, right?
It gave Space Marine to a, let's see here. I remember it being like in the like low 70s or something. Can't find it. Oh no. Which one gives it out of 100? It's not IGN. It was like what, Game Informer?
It might be Game Informer. I'm trying to remember. I'm like, I don't know if GameSpot does out of 100 either.
GameSpot, yeah. Anyway, there was a game journalist that gave Space Marine 2 a lower rating than it gave the fucking Gollum game.
Oh, right. I saw that. I did see that.
Yeah. It wasn't IGN. It was somebody else. I can't find it right now. But yeah, in the Gollum game, fucking trash.
Right.
Absolutely. Right. Like you take one look at the game, you're like, that just doesn't look fun.
I know. Yeah. But I think for that, those must have been two different reviewers, though. Right.
I mean, certainly that's another problem with gaming journalism. You have these conglomerates that have 30, 40 different reviewers constantly reviewing every new game that comes out. So you don't even know who you're listening to.
Sure.
You're not listening to the opinion of a guy. You're listening to the opinion of like a single person that's part of an entity, but the whole entity passes it off as its score.
Yeah. No, I get you. I totally get you, because you like oftentimes when you're scrolling through social media, you'll see like the headline, like IGN gave blah, 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 like a 7 out of 10 or something.
Yeah.
But they usually don't list the author in those like big posts. You'd have to go click on the article to then see the author and see who it is. And I find that I'm usually doing that more often than not now, because I don't trust like, I don't know. I don't trust just like the big headline. So I want to see exactly who wrote it. And I find that I'm like following certain reviewers more than others. And then I feel like that's probably the best way to navigate games journalism right now, is just finding the people who kind of identify. I mean, shit's all subjective anyways, but you know,
of course,
kind of identify
but
with.
Find a reviewer who you understand what kind of games they recommend.
Yes.
And then listen to their review, and based on their recommendation, you can make your own opinion.
Yeah.
He mainly does old games, but shout out Mandalore Gaming for posting legitimately good reviews where he doesn't just reduce it to a number. He talks about the pros, the cons, whether or not he could recommend it.
Totally.
You know, it's very old games that he does, but he's a very consistent voice.
I think it was like, was it SkillUp that does something similar? There was some other, I know there's a handful of reviewers who won't give a score and then will just like kind of give the pros and cons and whether they enjoyed it and like a final verdict type thing. But I think my favorite reviewer in games journalism right now comes from formerly Vice's Waypoint, now called Remap Radio. His name is Patrick Klepek, and he's been in games journalism for like the past 20 years or so. He started when he was like 14 and lied about his age just to illegally start like working for GameSpot or something. But he's still in it, and I feel like I identify with like his takes on games and his what he enjoys in video gaming, and I enjoy his. I just enjoy his writing. So he's a good one. I was actually going to talk like, cause he recently today put out, I guess there was a press preview for Avowed, like Xbox's RPG, Obsidian Entertainment's RPG that's coming out next year. And he was the only one who gave it like a pretty skeptical review from the preview. Everyone else has like just been singing high praise to it. Yeah. Anyways. I didn't have too much more to say about it other than that. So yeah, Game Awards, a sham. I still find the fun in it, but
these days, honestly, the best part about the Game Awards is the trailers, all the trailers that they release.
It's just E3
over the course of the night.
What it is, really.
Yeah,
it's a winter E3. Yeah.
Now that E3's dead, long live E3.
Yo, speaking of E3 dying, I don't know if y'all have been seeing the ads for the Video Game Expo, like driving around
To
LA.
LA, yeah.
Yeah. It's just like video game convention. They don't even call it an expo. It's like coming January 10th through 12th or something. I'm like, what
could be fun.
What are we doing like differently than E3? I'm kind of curious. I'd kind of be down to check it out depending on how much it costs to go there, but maybe we'll have to see it. But yeah, I agree about the Game Awards. I do find the most interesting part is not really the award part, which is funny because I feel like a lot of people are like, I don't care about the trailers and stuff. Just show me like more awards and stuff. And I'm like, no.
And even then, the trailers are more cinematic, so you rarely get gameplay anyways.
Yeah.
Which is a bummer.
That's true. The whole Game Awards are a sham, damn it. I know. Yeah, we need more gameplay in the trailers, but I'm sure they're very afraid of putting actual gameplay in a lot of those trailers. Well, I guess I didn't really talk about what games I've been playing. I mean, other than Metaphor, I've been playing Legends of Runeterra. Thank you, Brandon, on my phone. And
it's good.
Yeah, I've been enjoying the shit out of that. I've still been playing the Pokemon Pocket TCG. That's been fun just to, at least twice a day, rip open some packs, see what legendary or fun cards I pulled. But as far as like a solid gameplay with a card game goes, Legends of Runeterra, it's where it's at. That Path of the Champions thing, so fun. And it's kind of ridiculous the amount of content they put in that.
Mm-hmm.
It's
and coming into
crazy.
it now, you're at a good time because there's that whole Arcane event going on. So you get just so many fragments for Ambessa and Warwick. So you can get those guys up pretty high very quick.
Okay.
And then going in, just clear the things and get the rewards and do it's fun. It's a good time.
I haven't gotten too deep into it yet, so I haven't really lost a match. What happens when you lose? You just start that world over? Nothing.
Yeah, eventually when you level up a dude high enough, you get a revive, so you get one redo to retry that guy. If you lose all your revives and lose a match, then you just get booted out and you got to try again.
Oh shit.
No,
okay.
Nothing bad. It's not like they take out the gun and shoot you in the foot. Like it's nothing quite like that.
Damn. Well, I mean, Riot could. I'm 5 minutes away from their headquarters, so
yeah. Speaking of Riot, watch season 2 Arcane.
Yeah,
pretty good.
Yeah, same here. I've been enjoying it. The final 3 episodes are coming. Right, it's the final
soon.
3 that are coming out on Saturday.
Okay, I think so. Yeah.
Okay, and then that's going to end the story of
They're going
Jinx
to do
and Vi.
more with this animation studio, and they're going to be making other stories likely not in Piltover. In the many various other places in and around the League of Legends universe. But such ends the story of Jinx, Vi, and Jace from Arcane.
Yeah. Oh man. Have you watched it at all, Joe? Like any of the seasons?
It's very hard for me to sit down and watch a TV show. I'd rather just game or read manga.
That's fair.
I get you.
That's fair.
I get you. Especially because it's on Netflix. I mean, there's so many pirating sites, but if you don't subscribe to Netflix, then
find your own way.
Yeah, you can find it somewhere. It's pretty easy.
There not too
so
hard.
many subreddits.
We at Mind Controllers do not condone illegal acts, but it is noteworthy that it is simple enough.
It's funny because I didn't really remember too much about what happened in Arcane season 1. So coming into season 2, I didn't have like this emotional attachment to a lot of the characters, mostly because it was me trying to remember exactly what the hell they did and what was going on. And that's kind of on me. I could have watched some recap. And I know there was like a 4-minute recap before you started the episode. But anyways, it felt like that first chunk of the 3 episodes, I was like, okay, yeah, this is fun, but I'm not really pulled in. But then that second chunk, the one that dropped last week, I was like, oh shit. Yeah, this is good. Yeah. Wow.
It's very high quality animation. Very good story. Yeah, not much bad can be said about it.
No, not at all.
Other than the fact that it gets people into League of Legends. If you're hearing this and you've never played League of Legends, the actual game, please do not.
Please don't.
Yeah, this is coming from a friend.
Yeah.
Don't do it. Don't play League of Legends.
Dude. There was one episode of like a fuller deep dive episode that Joe and I did where I pulled out research that showed that League of Legends like increases so many negative things like anxiety, stress, tension just like the more you play it, and exposure to toxicity. So it was just yo, don't play this.
Don't play League of
for
Legends.
your own mental health.
No, yeah, straight up.
MOBAs in general actually is what they said is like the most toxic game genre. So watch out for the MOBAs.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I feel pretty good. I realize somehow we are almost at an hour. Brandon, I forget. Do you have to work today? Do you have to bounce pretty quick?
Yeah,
okay. Let's wrap it up then. Yeah. All right, y'all. So thank you so much for listening. I'm so glad to have everyone back here, by the way. Really appreciate both of you for being here. And for you listeners, be sure to rate and review on the podcast, whatever listening app you are using. That helps us out, pushes us a bit higher on that algorithm. And if you're not already doing so, follow us on Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, Blue Sky. Everyone's over at Blue Sky now. I made one before the big jump, so I got on it first. And if you have the financial means to do so, support us on the Patreon. We got a little $2 tier. So other than that, everyone, take care of yourselves. Oh, we're probably not going to be here next week because it is in America. It is Thanksgiving, so big federal holiday. Have the day off. And you'll catch us in 2 weeks. But thank you guys for listening. Take care. Love you all. And we'll see you in 2 weeks.
See you in the next one.
Bye, everybody.
Have a good one.